Hello, beautiful people. Hello, friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily Reddit content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact, and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. Coming at it a little bit late today because I've been doing a bit of the drinky drink, so I had to sleep that off. But that's all right. Happy birthday to my lovely niece, MJ. But let's be honest, it's more of an excuse just for the adults to get together and drink. However, today we are jumping into r/NeckbeardStories. Yes, indeed, the Neckbeard research continues. We have another post from Mr. Firedrake, which that's the most exciting thing of all. As soon as I get up, I check for it, because we take our science quite seriously around here, if you couldn't tell already. That's not true. We don't take it seriously at all. So we will get some plugs and disclaimers out of the way, and then we will be right into this Neckbeard cringe. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna have some laughs. A Taxonomy of Neckbeards, Defining the Species, Volume 2, by Firedrake. Welcome back, fellow anthropologists and general neckbeard enthusiasts. Here, I present to you the next installment of A Taxonomy of Neckbeards, Defining the Species. If you've not read Volume 1 of this series, I humbly suggest you do so before continuing with this volume, as the preface contained there will help those of you who are new to beard studying to fully grasp the meanings and context of what is provided here. Also, thank you to the amazing ReddX for narrating this study. I should also add that this is parody. It is not my intention to bully anyone. We're just having a little bit of a light ribbing, you know? And if even that is no longer sacred, then I fear to see where we are heading. Anyways, without further ado, let us explore the various subspecies of Homo beardicus in more detail. Ooh, 4 more beards to collect. Gotta catch 'em all, necky beards. Beardicus rotundus. This subspecies of neckbeard is another well-known and documented classification. Beardicus rotundi are characterized by the copious amounts of stored fat that their bodies produce. Truly, this specimen is fascinating for multiple reasons. 1. Neckbeards of this subtype have adapted to a specialized diet consisting almost entirely of soda, snack chips, and a deep-fried chicken strip, which in Beardish is called a 10D. Their ability to absorb the calories and store them for later is quite remarkable, reminiscent of a grizzly bear or a walrus. 2. The oils that their bodies produce from the food that they eat builds up a thick protective layer on their skin and hair, which we theorize is an adaptation to protect the neckbeard from biting insects and parasites. for the 3 or 4 times in their life that they go outdoors. 3. As the beard size increases, it selects coverings which are ill-fitted or unsuited to its girth at the torso and extremities, leaving us to wonder, do the Beardicus rotundi, like many animal species, decorate themselves so that their robust girth is easily seen to attract a mate? There's still so much to learn from these ungentle giants. Meeting a Beardicus rotundus in the wild can be quite the experience, similar to watching a breaching whale or a grazing elephant. Caution should always be taken, however, as many of this subspecies can develop more dangerous traits, like the debilitating miasma of Beardicus odiferae, the parasitic bonding of Beardicus militanevius, or even the aggressive hunting and breeding habits of the Beardicus preteracum. Fat guy in a little coat, it's no longer a joke. Next we have the Beardicus idioticus. Few of the Beardicus subspecies can be more insufferable to deal with than the Beardicus idioticus, which is compounded by their ability to appear at a distance like other more conventional human subtypes. This beard, due to some perceived talent or knowledge, tends to develop their inherent sense of superiority to unbearable levels. This beard subspecies has also been known to dominate conversations, especially those it was not invited to or even involved in. They will engage in gatekeeping on any subject that they feel they have a better knowledge or grasp of, which usually happens to be whatever topic of discussion is at hand. The key feature, which has confounded researchers for decades, is the complete lack of verifiable data or information to support their opinions. This will rarely, if ever, deter the Idioticus and his ramblings. Beardicus idioticum have a communicative filter, which is vestigial at best, resulting in inappropriate or inflammatory remarks regarding subjects like racism, sexism, classism, ageism, sexual identity or preference, religion, politics, and many, many others. When encountering an Idioticus in the wild, you must never, ever engage its vaunted stupidity with differing information or data, regardless of how incorrect its assertions are. It's best to quietly concur, or nod agreeably, while keeping alert for the best possible exit strategies. Don't waste your breath, that's all I'm saying. Beardicus ineptilis. This subspecies, at least superficially, appears to be quite knowledgeable or creative concerning a particular subject, such as the arts, music, or other practical pursuits. But due to their inability to grasp concepts like constructive criticism, self-improvement, or practice, they give the absolute minimum of effort to whatever task they are attempting. Substandard results, touted as masterpiece works, are the ineptolum's trademark. This inability to comprehend that one must work to better one's skills, no matter the potential talent one already possesses, is a mystery that quite honestly baffles researchers. Moreover, when ineptili are confronted about the objectively low quality of their works or abilities, it triggers a massive reaction from the nervous system, specifically the frontal lobe, limbic system, occipital lobes, and cerebellum. This reaction results in overwhelming doses of denial to be hyperfed into the beard's consciousness in an attempt to preserve its ego. Any attempt to reason or argue will simply be met with deflection, projection onto others, or simply flat refusal to accept reality or even assistance. When observing these beards, it's best to muffle sounds and refrain from engaging them in conversation, lest you be drawn into a situation that you can't escape from.
What do you think of my art?
I don't. I don't think of it at all. And our final entry for today will be the Beardicus gladius. Of all the subspecies of neck or leg beards, these creatures are the most overtly dangerous. The members of this subtype have become infatuated with weapons, most notably blades or firearms, to the point of zealous worship. Like the lion's claws or the wolf's fangs, these beards will brandish their instruments of death at the slightest of provocations. Many accounts tell of the gratuitous displays these apex predators will execute, especially in the presence of a prospective mate, with wild, primal yells and erratic posturing involving their chosen tools of destruction. Curiously, with all their bravado and practice, these creatures are rarely, if ever, documented as having used their prize blades in actual combat, even for the purpose of hunting. It's best when encountering Beardicus gladium in the wild to avoid making sudden movements or loud noises, and to regard the beard with wariness, as their desire to impress or intimidate far outweighs their skills and control. With studies still ongoing, rest assured that more information on these fascinating and diverse creatures will be made available to you as it becomes available to us. I would like to thank all of my fellow colleagues and anthropological enthusiasts who have submitted their experience and observations for me to study and review. Volume 3 is well underway. Until next time. Oh, Fire Drake, it's just, it's beautiful. I'm loving this series. I'm loving these posts. It's just so good. So I think the best way to demonstrate what these different subtypes are is to find an example, a relatively well-known example on the channel about these subtypes. So first we've got the Beardicus rotundus. It's a big fat dude. It's Sir Sam, isn't it? Could also be Wheezy Beard. Both very, very good examples. We've got the Beardicus idioticus, the idiot beard. Yes, indeed. Basically dropping facts that are unverifiable or just proven completely wrong, but he just won't acknowledge it. We've got, Sir Sam again, and Hipster Beard, I think, would be good examples of the Beardicus idioticus variety. Any dissenting information is just completely disregarded. Beardicus ineptilis, the inept neckbeard, my goodness, that is art beard to a T. It's not often that beards go after, like, the more creative pursuits, you know? Usually their talents are, like, completely nebulous, you know? They're just, oh, my intelligence is so high, and nothing to back that up. But every once in a while you see a beard that does something and ventures outside the box only for the thing that they do to be completely terrible, and they have no interest in improving it. So I'd say art beard is the premier example of Beardicus ineptilis. Finally, we've got Beardicus gladius. I think Burger Beard was one of these. In our most recent episode, he went to his friend's house and tried correcting him on some sort of shotgun that he had, and managed to get the facts completely wrong. So it is a glorious marriage of the idioticus and the gladius. There are many, many subtypes. New ones are being discovered every single day, and it is just so exciting to be participating in this research. I thank you so much for bringing this to me, Firedrake. He has been funding the research for quite a long time, but now at this point, he is also digging in with both hands, which is just amazing. I could not be more appreciative, my dude. Highly looking forward to Volume 3, and who knows, I probably will even cut these into their own video or make a channel trailer out of them. Like, that's how much I love these posts. It fits in completely with my love of beards and my love of science. A match made in heaven. But anyways, we will continue on to the next story and see if we can't classify just a little bit more. More unfortunate times with Gothic Horse Beard. You can find the first Gothic Horse Beard story linked in the description. Hello, beautiful people. I appreciate all the upvotes on my basic minimal summary of my time with Gothic Horse Beard. I didn't know how it was going to be, so I didn't want to make it super long and bore everyone to death, but since a good bit of people seem to like it, I wanted to share some more detail from my year of Gothic Horse Beard going between friend and enemy. Also, thank you to ReddX who read my first story. Hey! Can't tell you how loud I screamed when I first heard the title. Please don't scream though, I have very sensitive eardrums. So, first I wanted to do some extra explaining on where I was mentally at the time, as I was not a good person then. I was just going through a hell of a lot. During most people's senior years, they try to make the best of it, to remember and say goodbye to their last teenage years. But for me, it seemed like every time I was getting over one problem, I'd just get hit with another, and Gothic Horse Beard didn't make that any better. Disclaimer, the time of these events was like 2016 to 2017. I was 18 at the time, and now I'm 22, so please forgive my past self for any actions that made me look like the bitch that I was. Please understand that I've done so much growth since then, and I'm in a hugely different place and much more mature than who I was. Also, my memory's kinda jacked up, so these events are not going to be in order of how they happened, as it's been so long that I can't really remember. These sorts of disclaimers generally make me very wary about posts. But OP and I have a bit of a history, so I'm going to take what is said with a grain of salt. Event 1. So the first event that I really remember when it comes to Gothic Horse Beard, I completely forgot in my last post. It was when I got horribly sick with pneumonia in October, and the reason that I can remember it was October is for two reasons. One, South Carolina got it with Hurricane Matthew that year, and was torn up a good bit. As I was laying sick in my bed, thinking that I was gonna die in a mess of sweat-soaked sheets and could hardly breathe, everyone was trying to be safe and prepare for the worst of the hurricane coming our way, only for it not to do that much damage at all, thankfully. And two, my grandfather passed away at the same time. My grandfather was fighting cancer basically the whole time I was in high school, and I prayed and prayed and prayed to God for me to just have some more time with him, hoping to get God to just hold on from taking my papa away from me until I could graduate high school. But sadly, he didn't, and I never got to say goodbye as I was just so sick from that stupid lung infection. But on a happier note, I did get to see him for one last birthday when I turned 18 in August, and I do know that he's in a better place, pain and illness free. Anyways, this is where Gothic Horse Beard comes into this. I was sick for 2.5 weeks with this pneumonia, and only Italy got in contact with me to make sure I was okay. Shy Guy didn't have my phone number or even Facebook, so Italy texted me on behalf of both her and Shy Guy. But Gothic Horse Beard couldn't care less that I was gone, which, yeah, it bothered me if we were supposed to be friends. He had my Facebook and my phone number. Nothing from him. Not only that, but when I was finally able to get back into school, finally thinking I was getting over being sick, and before the funeral, I couldn't eat. I felt so sick to my stomach thinking about food, and all I wanted to do was cry. But Italy still kept being an awesome friend and kept pushing me to eat, and all Gothic Horsebeard could say about the situation was,
People die. That's how it is. Get over it.
maybe it's your turn. And I get that that was maybe his way of trying to cheer me up or make me feel better in some way. And at the time, I didn't even really fight him on this, as I felt so emotionless, but looking at it now, the fact that Gothic Horsebeard was so cold and couldn't care less about the fact that, one, I was sick as a damn dog, to the point that I did go to the ER because that's how bad I was having trouble breathing, and the fever just wouldn't break. And two, I lost someone who was so important to me. Gothic Horsebeard was a shitty person, and an even worse friend. Event 2. I'm someone that, if someone says something wrong or is sharing incorrect facts, I try and point out or help them by telling them, hey, I understand if you might have read this somewhere, but I've also read about this topic, and my facts are a little bit different. I wouldn't try to embarrass them, but just help to correct them. And one of Gothic Horsebeard's friends was telling people that when you go to sleep, your heart stops beating. Yeah. My dad's a paramedic, has been for over 30 years, so knowing basic body function and basic first aid was just something that my dad granted me while growing up. So of course, I think he's joking with us. No one's that stupid, right? Right? So I asked him, are you joking right now? Gothic Horsebeard's friend.
No, I'm serious. Your heart stops beating when you go to sleep. Look it up, I'm serious.
OP? Dude, there's no way. Your heart slows down, but it doesn't stop. There's just too much blood for your brain to pump alone, causing much more damage. Your brain pumps blood? Hey, OP, I understand if you might have read this somewhere, but I have too, and I have some different facts. No shade. Gothic Horsebeard's friend.
That's stupid. Whoever told you that is lying or an idiot.
Gothic Horsebeard knows biology, as it was one of his favorite science classes, because he liked knowing where the main blood supplies and pressure points are in a body.
To kill someone if they try to fuck with me.
So, of course, I looked to him for help in correcting his friend, because his friend was making a complete ass of himself. Nope. Gothic Horsebeard.
OP, what are you talking about? Fred is absolutely right. You're just being ignorant.
Of course, I had a slight issue back then about incorrect information. I'm not sure what it's called, as I can't remember, but sure enough, I was getting irritated. I even tried talking to Gothic Horsebeard alone to ask him about this, and I said, what the fuck? You know he was wrong, why'd you play along? And his response was,
it's funny to see you get mad.
I wanted to throat punch him, and I'm disappointed that I didn't do it. Probably would have saved me a lot of stress and headaches if I did, at least in some ways. Event 3. As I said before, Gothic Horsebeard was overweight, but he just said that he was
big boned.
Just like Cartman from South Park. ReddX, I knew you'd get the reference, and I'm so glad you put that clip in your video. I just do what I can. This man-child of a neckbeard would come to school with those huge monster cans that were twice the size of a regular monster, a cream soda, breakfast from some fast food place, money to get some french fries, and candy for lunch. And on occasion, he would bring a big box of Bo-Berry biscuits from Bojangles. Bro, Bojangles! I only went there a few times when I was in North Carolina, but dang, I kind of miss Bojangles in a way. Anyways, he'd carry this tray around the school, eating it little by little just to be an asshole. I swear, his mother spoiled him rotten. Yet another neckbeard trait. That's right, entitled parents raising neckbeard children. But it does not end there. No, friends. You see, your lovely OP Sunny is a thick girl. Some of it is in an unhealthy way. I mean, I'm always going to be a thick girl, yes, but Where I am now is too much, and if I don't change that, I will die at a young age. So I've been trying to change for a couple of months now, but back in high school, I tried to do this by eating better, but I was just not an exercise person at all. Exercise is the magic ingredient though. Just do some walking, you know? You'll be surprised how quick it falls off if you just walk everywhere. Anywho, my mother was an exercise person, and she would do her workout, and she also did healthy, good diets like keto or something else I can't remember. And of course me, with no job and no money to buy my own food, I ate what my mother cooked. It wasn't bad, just not full of preservatives like I was used to, but it was better for me, so I didn't complain. I even noticed some changes to my sleeping habits and the way I felt overall, but Gothic Horse Beard felt it was necessary to talk down at me or make me feel ashamed for trying to eat better and take care of myself. He would often call my healthy food rabbit food, even though it wasn't all salad. It was a good, well-balanced meal with meats, veggies, and healthy carbs. And he always had to have his candy right in front of me in plain sight. If I tried to ignore him by reading a book or getting on my phone, he'd start talking about candy and junk food, if not to me, then to Shy Guy or Italy, purposefully loud just to make sure I heard him. He was just not supportive of me trying to be better in any way. Alright, remind me why you're even still friends at this point, though. Event 4. So the great Gothic Horse Beard did have an obsession with weapons. And I mean, this dude wore some gothic necklace. I can't remember if it was like a skull or something else, but it had a hidden knife in it that at times he would actually pull out and actually practice using it.
In case he ever needed to.
Swinging his arms around like he was trying to fight an invisible man. Then, in my school, we had ID cards, and we had to wear them around our necks with lanyards. For anyone who never heard or read that word before, you know the ID necklaces scientists wear around their necks? Yeah, that thing. I hated it so much. But Gothic Horse Beard seemed to enjoy them, because if he wasn't practice fighting with his 3-inch little stupid plastic dagger, then he was swinging that damn lanyard around like it was a pair of nunchucks. I'm not joking. He even hit me a few times with it,
claiming it was an accident.
And that damn thing hurt like a bitch. And when I would ask him to stop or move so he didn't hit me, he'd say,
"You're the one in my way. You move."
Like, dude, really? Event 5. One last time I really remember from Gothic Horse Beard was him spoiling a gift that I was making for Italy. So her birthday was coming up, and having no money, I still wanted to do something special for her, and she loves this online comic called Homestuck, so I was going to draw every single character of Homestuck in one big collage for her. Mind you, this comic has over 200 characters, and I was determined to do it for her. But that's not the gift that Gothic Horse Beard spoiled. No, friends, the gift he spoiled and mocked me for was a story that I was writing for Italy. See, I'm a writer. I love to write short stories, and my dream is to be an author one day. And at this time, I was really getting a feel for my style of writing, which is fantasy. And Italy loves dragons and anything fantasy related, so I was going to write her a personal fantasy character on an adventure to find an important dragon, and then they have a huge fight. It was going to be a big, long project at first, and I was excited to do it. But when Gothic Horse Beard asked what I was doing for Italy, he wanted to read it and proofread it for me. And as I said before, I kind of suck at grammar, especially back then. Well, when we all got on the bus to leave the career center and go back to our high school, Gothic Horse Beard did not miss a fucking beat.
"Hey, Italy, so OP's writing your story of a warrior dark elf fighting a dragon."
I swear to God, I wanted to kick his fat ass off the bus seat and just kick him in the face. But I couldn't move him, even if I tried. Of course, Italy didn't have the most pleasant look on her face at first. I didn't know if it was because she didn't like the idea of what I was writing, or if it was because Gothic Horse Beard had spoiled it. But sure enough, by him doing that, it killed my motivation to write the story. I was so mad and embarrassed, and I didn't think my writing was any good at the time. Of course, Italy asked me about it, and I told her what I was going to do. She liked the idea, but when I told her I lost the motivation to write now, I don't know if she was disappointed or what. She seemed neutral about it, and really seemed like she didn't care what I was fine with, and I think we both ended up just forgetting about it. So those are the most memorable events dealing with Gothic Horse Beard. There are still plenty others, but I don't know if I want to do another post about Gothic Horse Beard, because I've basically gotten this out of my system, and I don't want to milk it much more. So I appreciate the upvotes, and thanks to ReddX for reading my first post. Damn, bro, we get all these neckbeard definitions, and then we just get the example, like, shoved right in our face. I didn't set it up like this at all. I'm just shocked that he has a proclivity for swords and whatnot, and getting facts wrong on purpose. Although, I don't know if we can necessarily call him an idioticus, because he seemed to know that the fact was wrong. He was just trying to get under OP's skin. Much like he seems to do with everything else. He just doesn't want to be alone in his misery, is the sad fact of the matter. I was a little perturbed when OP's setting up a defense like, hey, look guys, I've changed since then. And really, there's nothing wrong with the story. You didn't have to set up a defense or anything like that. I do applaud your dream of writing, OP. I think that everybody should get out there and chase their dreams. But grammar is a really, really big part of writing. You seem to know that it's one of your shortcomings, so I hope that you'll work on it in the future, and the only way to really work on it is just to practice, write more, write everything, anything that you can think about, just write it. And you will get better, slowly but surely. I think 22 is still pretty young, you know, you've got a lot of growing left to do, so I hope that you do continue to grow and focus on the dreams that you have for yourself. Because yeah, now you're out of high school, ain't nobody there to hold you back and stuff like that. It's now all about you chasing that dream, which is freeing in a way. A little bit intimidating, but also freeing. So I wish the best for you, OP. If you do write something else, go ahead, drop through my DM, something like that, and I'd be happy to read it. But until we meet again, let's continue on into the third story. Neckbeard realizes he should not mess with a 120-pound dog the hard way. The hardest way. I love the username too. Eli EIO. Beautiful. Hello, friends. Today I have a tale most foul in both odor and taste. First, you'll need a bit of context. My town is sort of a neckbeard hub. Really? With small game shops on almost every corner. It's also not a very big town, which concentrates the fedora population even further. Most of the time, the bearded beasts avoid me due to the fact that I don't really conversate, and I have sort of a murderous look on my face when interacting with literally any person that I don't know. I'm also a very well-passing trans guy, which puts most beards off even more. A few days ago, however, I had become the desired mate of a hair-covered walking ball sack. You see, my beloved leopard gecko required sacrifices, which meant I had to take her on a very reluctant trip into town. I decided to bring our family pup along. Her name is Junkyard. Aw, pretty name. Okay, that's not her actual name, but she kind of looks like the Beast from The Sandlot, except more intimidating. She's a black brindle cane corso mastiff mix with big gold eyes, weighing in at like 120 to 130 pounds. She's actually a big chicken, but when she thinks anyone in our family is in trouble, well, watch out. Anyway, we journeyed bravely into the store, where Junk got plenty of treats and pets from my favorite manager. I wanted to see if there would be a shipment of hornworms soon, seeing as my gecko's gotcha day was coming up, and the manager, of course, gladly went to check. We're homies after all. Anyway, I began to watch the many scaly and fuzzy little creatures in the reptile area, when I noticed a very large man approaching. Junk cowered behind me initially, but I think she knew that something was wrong because she kept peeking out and snorting slightly. I think she's just smelling him, but she's in just a total state of disbelief. She's like, God, smells like Indian food in a baby diaper, not a human. This guy was uncomfortably close, like almost touching me close, and he wasn't wearing a mask, so I backed off a little. Red flag 1 was that he followed me. Beard.
Hey, why are you moving away from me? You know the virus isn't real, right?
I just snorted at him, which did not please his beastliness. He stepped closer again, and Junk moved to my side and leaned on me. I knew she was getting upset, and I just pet her head. OP, I don't care. You're way too close to me and my dog, dude. Beard.
I just wanted to take a good look at the reptiles, among other things.
You are a fucking reptile, dude. Red flag 2 was up, and Junk moved a bit more in front of me, giving sort of a low bark. OP, back up. You're freaking my dog out. Beard.
Come on, come back over here. I don't bite.
Red flag 3 went up, and Junk moved in front of me, beginning to growl low in her throat. That was when the Beard made his biggest mistake. He made a grab for me. Now, I've only heard Junk growl or snarl about 3 times, and this was one of the 3. She snarled, and slobber began to fly from her mouth as she lunged, sending the Beard stumbling back until he hit the floor. She lunged, snarling and barking as the guy screamed. The manager came running back at the commotion, and Junk began to settle down. She told the Beard to put his mask on and back off, which he did, very reluctantly, all while moaning and bitching about
his tailbone.
Your tailbone? You mean that big fat ass ears? The manager and I talked, and I explained that this freak had been getting in my personal space and just making me feel incredibly unsafe. He tried to argue, but the manager just looked at him and told him that she would be checking the cameras. He went pale at that one and just waddled out as fast as possible. Thankfully, I was able to get my crickets and go home in peace, where Junk got a few more treats with her dinner. Thanks for reading. Remember to eat a vegetable and drink some water. I like that ending. Eat a vegetable, drink some water. You like vegetables? You like beardos assaulting you in the middle of a pet store? Nobody does. Luckily, you had the dog with you. It's always amazing to me how good dogs are at reading people. They're so freaking intelligent, man. Like, we got a couple of dogs at my house. The caretaker got a couple of dogs at his house. Generally, these 2 separate packs of dogs can live amongst each other somewhat amicably. But when my wife and the caretaker, like, get into an argument with each other, the dogs, they go ballistic. No argument lasts very long because the dogs are just ready to kill each other. I'm honestly surprised that this dog didn't take a bite out of the dude. That could have ended much worse, I think. But yeah, big dogs seem to like kind of know that they're big. They temper themselves just a little bit, not like my 20 or 30 pound dogs do. They're well trained. They love people. They can be around kids, no problem, but it's other dogs that they seem to have a problem with. Maybe dude deserved to have some bacon cut off his back. Maybe he didn't. Probably he did, though. You can cast your vote now by hitting the thumbs up button for yes and the thumbs down button for no. Then I have plausible deniability when people are asking why this episode has dislikes. Got him. But anyways, friends, I do hope that you will like, not dislike, just like, comment, and or subscribe on the video. If you did enjoy, maybe share it around. That would be pretty cool. It is a couple of part 2s, but we got part 1s linked in the description box, so you could share either one, really. Confuse people at your leisure. I also hope that you check out the links that are down in that description box. We got plenty of stuff to click on down there. There's my wife's channel, Mr. and Mrs. ReddX, my personal subreddit, r/ReddXReads, where 2 of these 3 stories came from. We've also got the Teespring if you're trying to rock that merch. Oh, and how could I almost fake forget about my gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful, generous patrons. I probably can't read their names out super fast today because I'm still a little bit drunk over. But I do want to thank all of my patrons, especially 0MMX, Lady Nix, Robert Waits, Pope Squid, Rebecca H, Cider Drinker, Tato Fair, The Last Shinobi, Mark 211, Michael Undead, Aaron W, Mitch, John Hero, Josh K, Candy Sora, DigiNZ, Fire Drake, yo, Little Lone Wolf, Lone Island, Shara, Marvin Demoth, Miss Monday, Silent Revolver, JM Kuhn, and we've got 2 new friends joining us, Flair Leon and TSM Kirby. Welcome to the team, y'all. Just feels so good. Feels so good. Patron emails are some of my favorite emails. Because it is super important. Some stuff does get demonetized on the channel. We do a little bit of edgy stuff around here every now and then, and it's really nice to be able to lean back on them patrons. So thank you guys so much. Obviously, if anybody else can support monetarily, that is huge to me. Thank you in advance. But if you can't, don't sweat it too hard, guys. I just appreciate you coming on through, hanging out with me, and I hope that you come on back and hang out with me again tomorrow, because really the views is how my beard is buttered. In order to make it on back, you're going to need to wash your hands, keep yourself safe out there, super important, but also take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy. Maybe watching another ReddX video. I'm just saying. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, and you definitely deserve it. I will see you in the next one. And until then, bye-bye.